Hello. Today we're talking about Taylor's Lee County Septic. 5 steps to maintaining your grease traps. I am Terrell Nunnery, and I will be presenting um, this webinar to you today. Let's get into it. Step 1, identifying the what, why, and how. What is a grease trap? A grease trap or a grease interceptor is a receptacle located between the restaurant drain lines and the sanitary lines that allows for the separation and collection of fats, oils, and greases, which is known as fog, from used water, preventing such materials from entering the main sewer line. Okay? The grease trap can either be located inside of the establishment or on the outside. Typically, large restaurants or school kitchens will have their grease traps located outside the facility, usually in the ground, while facilities with smaller traps usually house theirs inside of the restaurant. Why restaurants have grease traps? Fog wreaks all kinds of havoc on municipal wastewater systems, which is why local governments require commercial kitchens to have a grease trap installed. Most municipalities will have a minimum amount of fog that is acceptable in the water. If these minimums are exceeded, the establishment could be fined. How grease traps work. Grease traps slow down the flow of water coming from drains, allowing the water and grease to cool. Basically, grease traps allow the grease in the water to cool off. Okay, once it gets hard, the foam or the part of the solids will flow to the top, the remaining solids will flow to the bottom, allowing the water to pass freely through the city sewer line. Again, listen to what I just said, the city sewer line. So, the city sewer line, you don't want any access ways to go into the city sewer line because you don't want to face any additional costs. So it is essential that you understand what the grease trap does and where everything goes once it's solid inside of your grease trap. Okay, step 2, educating your employees. Ways to educate your employees. First, you can send your kitchen staff and maintenance staff to training classes or seminars located in the local area, or plumbers or other companies in the area may offer seminars and classes on how to properly maintenance grease traps. If that if that exceeds your budget or that may be an issue sending off staff, you can hold classes at your facility using videos and infographics to educate. So you can have your employees come in 30 minutes early on certain days, maybe once a month, and just to get 30 minutes of training and use videos like this webinar or other videos on YouTube or other videos posted online to give them information that they can use to further their knowledge for as servicing the grease traps. You can post signage and leave brochures in the break rooms also. You can post flyers all over the break room, just letting the employees know, hey, this is important. You want to make sure that they understand the severity of not doing these things or not complying with these rules and regulations. So you want to educate your staff the best way you can to make sure that they understand everything that's going on and they're not lost and they know why they're doing what they're doing. Step 3, creating a log manual. So after you train your staff and you begin to educate them, you want to let them know, okay, we're incorporating the logging manual. So once you've trained, log your training hours, log it monthly. Then you can, behind those training sheets, you can put grease trap pumping schedule. You can make sure that your staff knows, okay, hey, we're pumping. This is what we're doing. This is the day it's coming. That staff member who trained that day may be the person who's there when this company comes to pump. So you want him to know what's going on. You don't want him to be naive, or he or she to be naive that this company is coming, and you want them to be prepared so that they can help the company or assist the company the best way they can. Even with the cooking or recycling log, you want to know that this is being recycled if you are recycling. So you want to make sure the company, your employees are doing it the right way. So make them log it. That way you don't blame your morning crew for what your evening crew did. You know who's doing what and who should have done what. That way you can properly, as management and owner, you know that your managers are compliant if you're the owner, or if you're the manager, you know that your employees are compliant. Or just the owner, you want to know the whole facility is compliant. You want to make sure everyone understands that this is what you do and you have to log these things. Make it a mandate that they log this information monthly, daily, weekly, however it is your system that you set for it is set. Make sure that they're complying with it. Step 4, preventative maintenance. This is essential. Okay, preventative maintenance can save you thousands of dollars in the long run. Preventative maintenance on grease traps is important. When grease comes out of the drains, it is hot, so it flows smoothly through the system all the way out of the grease interceptor. When it gets cold or cools down, it it will solidify um, in the pipes and collect in the grease trap before it has time to go out. Um, if the grease traps are not properly or regularly cleaned, it can cause fats and oils and grease, again fog, to empty into the municipal sewer system, which is a no-no. Fat and grease buildup in sewers can cost millions of dollars to fix. Many municipalities have strict ordinances to prevent issues and fine violators. Understand what we just said. It can cost millions of dollars to fix. So, if you're not properly disposing of your grease and it's not properly installed, you can easily clog up the whole city line, which means if you're on the main street where there's restaurants and you have 50 other restaurants on that street, you can literally clog it where you can't use it, they can't use it, no one on the street can use it. And you can literally back up what you dumped in that trap and have it coming right back up into your drains. Everyone drains on that street if not properly done, which can cost millions of dollars. Preventative maintenance is simply getting the grease lines jetted out with water at least once a year, but grease trap maintenance is critical, and there are companies that will do it all for you relatively inexpensive, which is like Lee County Septic. Perfect example. You call Lee County Septic out, they'll come out through the week. If you call them on a weekend, you will pay additional costs for it being an emergency. So if you are logging everything and you're doing all the preventive things you need to do, you should be on schedule. You shouldn't have to pay additional costs because you've complied with everything you needed to, and you're on the schedule, and you know when you need to be pumped, so that Lee County Septic or any other company can put you on their schedule and come see you. You don't have to call them out because they have you on the schedule, and they'll make sure that you're part of their monthly routine or whenever you get yours pumped, whether it's quarterly, monthly, or yearly, depending on the size of your grease trap. Step 5, choosing the right company. What company to choose? That's very important, right? Choosing the company to service your grease trap is an important decision. Even if a restaurant is part of a franchise, they still depend on local vendors to service their establishment. Right. If you're located in California and you're expanding to Florida, the guy in California cannot service you in Florida. So therefore, you have to depend on the Florida plumbers or septic tank companies or anyone who does this, who will service that grease trap in that area. Look for vendors with a track record in the area. Any vendors that service the area should have some kind of feedback listed from past customers. Um, Word of mouth could be helpful, but you shouldn't depend on solely on someone's word because you don't know if that's their cousin or their uncle or who they're telling you to go to. You want to make sure that they know what they're talking about. You want to make sure that they understand that, hey, I need great service, not just a great person. Pick a company that is consistent and dependable. Some could strongly suggest picking a company with 24-hour call just in case of emergency, like Lee County Septic. Recently, I was with Mr. Taylor, and he was called out to a company, big company, and they had their grease trap clogged. It's probably about 4,000-gallon grease trap, and it was clogging the main sewer line also. He took the job, but they could have avoided all of this if they would have just literally had a logbook or had these things that we're talking about. Unfortunately, they accidentally took Lee County Septic off of the vendors list, which caused them to go a year without getting it pumped. So their customers had to endure the horrible smell of a grease trap. Believe me, that's a smell that you don't want your restaurant to ever experience while you're serving food. Because I can guarantee you, if you have someone in your restaurant eating a steak dinner and they smell that smell, they're gonna want their money back and they're gonna take their family or themselves out of the restaurant because that smell is unbearable. I was out there while they pumped the grease trap, and I can tell you that I had to walk away at least 6 times. And I have a pretty tough stomach, but that smell was unbearable. And as a restaurant owner, you definitely don't want to endure that smell. So if you can avoid that smell by following these 5 steps, I truly recommend that you follow these steps so that long term you don't face these issues and you're prepared for whatever comes your way. You have your staff educated, you understand the what, why, and how. So you want to know what is a grease trap, why you have a grease trap, and how they work. Okay, so that's very important. Then you want to go back until you want to educate your staff. You want to educate your staff, make sure they understand what's going on. Then from there, you implement a manual, a log sheets. You want to make sure you have a binder, just any kind of book that you can log and track and document what's going on in your company. Then you want to know what company to choose. You want to make sure you choose someone who's efficient, someone who can um, provide adequate service. At the same time, you don't have to babysit. We're not here to babysit vendors, so it's hard enough making sure your employees comply. You don't need a rinky-dink vendor coming to your facility providing F service, and you're looking for A service, and it's only a $50 difference between the great company, the best company in town, and the worst company in town. Bite the bullet, pay the extra $50. It's not worth saving when you may face a fine that exceeds the budget that you even have for this service. So let's make sure we do those things to make sure we comply and we put our best foot forward. Conclusion: Taylor's Lee County Septic is a prime example of a 24-hour a company that provides 24-hour service, along with has a great track record. They've been around for 46 years. After 46 years, they still have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. The company is currently operated by Elijah Taylor and Patricia Taylor, whom both hold CEO positions, mother and son. I had opportunity to work with these people, and they're amazing people. Provide amazing customer service. If you ask the community, believe me, they'll speak highly of them, along with the documented work that they have that they can prove and provide to you to show you that, hey, we provide great service. And we haven't been around for 46 years by accident. They've been around 46 years because they put their best foot forward every time. And no customer is too small and no customer is too big for the County Septic. So I thank you for your time. And if there's any questions, please chime in now. Okay. There's no questions. Okay. Let's do something right quick. I'd like to show you something. Let's see. Excuse my excuse me today. Let's see if I can share this with you before I close out. Let's see. This is a grease trap. Before I play the video, this is a grease trap that when I was talking about, it hadn't been serviced in months. And I want to show you this. That way you can see what I'm talking about. This is about a 4,000 gallon grease trap. You can imagine how that's very deep in the ground. Like if you fell in that hole, believe me, you will fall very deep. So you can imagine how much time it took to pump that. I'm gonna play this video so you can see. That's the Master Plumbers, local company, coming out, calling Lee County Septic. Fast forward a little bit. You can see how it looks inside of the grease trap. This is the main sewer line, which is clogged, which is not flowing properly. You can see that the water is dead. And this is the Lee County Septic crew working hard on a Saturday to pump this issue out. It was about 3 to 4 loads to get that out of there. And it took some hard work. And, Lee County Septic was able to execute the job, but a lot of that additional cost could have been avoided. I thank you for your time. God bless. Have a great night.